Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Welcome to This Week in Metals. Welcome, Peter Thomas. What's going on?
Hey, freezing cold here in Chicago. My son and I are getting ready to do some ice fishing on Sunday, so that kind of tells you what's going on.
Yeah,
It's brutal out here, man.
that's right. You got the hut and the television set in there to
Oh, we
watch.
got the hot, the heater. I mean, ice fishing my butt. Hey, I'm not into that outdoors sitting on the lake in a 30-knot breeze, to catch a perch.
Right, right.
But hey, we have fun. It's all fun. It's good to be with my son.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
great. Let's jump into the metals here.
yeah.
Good
Please do.
week for the most part. Gold closed up about 1.5% on the week. It was the first higher weekly close in three.
Yeah,
So that's encouraging. Although we did see some volatility in the market, pretty significant sell-off on Monday last week.
right.
Came back in the middle of the week, kind of had an off day on Friday as well. But all in all, it held above $1,800, which I
Yeah,
think
I'm looking at it. Very
is
nice numbers.
encouraging.
Yeah.
Um, I'd still like it to get back above 1900 to kind of get me feeling a little bit more confident about the underlying uptrend. But all in all, I'm not disappointed. I think the recent corrective to consolidative activity is sort of relieving the overbought condition to some degree. I mentioned to you last week that we're hopeful that the Asian physical buyers would come back into the market,
Yes.
and I was a little
Yes.
bit concerned that they might need to see a lower price in order to entice them, if you will.
Well, it's a good call. It always is. They're a very price sensitive group, and I concur with you on it.
Yeah, so we could still see, $1,700, maybe even a little bit lower. But if that opportunity presents itself, I think it's a good opportunity to be a
Well,
buyer.
let's look at a fundamental here. The U.S. Mint said that the Golden Eagle sales year to date are up 162%. It's not like people aren't interested in the product. All right.
No, no, they absolutely are. Absolutely
Yeah.
are. Hey,
Right.
we also got some encouraging news out of Asia. So. Indian gold imports in December were
Ah,
37.2 tons, a 19-month high,
that is a great number.
up 45% month on month. So up 45% from
Right.
October, up
Yep.
41% from November a year ago, or I'm sorry, December a year ago.
Okay. There you go.
So that's maybe the Indian buyers are starting to
Are
come
coming
back.
back.
um,
Yeah.
Regardless of the higher price. I think that certainly COVID has been an issue, but
I
gold
agree.
is really rich, priced in rupees
Well,
these
it
days.
is, yeah, and there is no discount. If you remember, 9 days ago, the discount in Asia, specifically in Hong Kong, disappeared. We saw our first inversion in 11 months,
Yeah, I think it was like
and
11 months.
so we're seeing product being bid hard at these levels. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
so maybe I'm wrong on the deeper pullback. Even though gold is expensive, certainly in rupee.
Right.
Maybe there's this realization that it ain't going to get any cheaper.
Well, that's really the significant point on the Asian buying, especially in what was the one time number one buyer of all time, which is India, is the wedding season. And people put off last year's wedding season. They have to give gold as part of the ceremony. And they've been put it off for a year. It's time. They want to get married. They're going to step up. I mean, that's just got to be the bottom line. And that's, I think, what you're seeing, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraged overall. I think,
Right.
um, you know, uh, central bank gold purchases
Ah,
in November were down
Yeah,
So again, we've been watching those numbers fairly
we have.
closely.
Mhm.
Obviously, a declining amount of central bank purchases throughout the COVID. We
Okay.
did see an uptick in October, so we were thinking, oh well, maybe the central banks are going to get back in the game,
I don't
but
think so.
it was sort of a 1 month, one-off event, and we saw actual
No,
declines.
the COVID bill has come due, and we're seeing some banks that are up as much as 100% on their central bank gold purchases, bringing some of that product to market and saying, we got giant medical bills to pay here, and if we can grab a billion here, a billion there, it's going to help defer some of this. So I think we're going to continue, especially with the new Kent virus running, to see very high medical bills in countries that are going to need to be paid, and they're going to tap into some of these reserves.
Yeah, so that new variant of the COVID virus is kind of
Yeah,
going global.
yes,
It
it
was
is.
it was sort of it started out as a UK phenomenon,
That's correct.
and now we're starting to see cases of it all over the world.
Yeah, we're getting reports in parts of Africa and also in Brazil. So it's definitely not isolated to London. And boy, it's a brutal disease. Let's hope this is just a phase.
Yeah, let's hope so. We start to see some encouraging news over the last several months in
Yeah,
terms of economic recovery and so forth. We'd hate to see that all get
I agree.
undermined
I
by
agree. And
a
the
new variant.
inoculation appears to be working on both strains. So that's very encouraging.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking of central banks, we had some
Uh-huh.
policy updates last week, or I
Yeah.
guess mostly it was non-event. BOJ and Bank of Canada held steady on policy. That was widely expected by the
Yeah. No
market.
surprises there.
Yeah, ECB held steady, but the verbiage from Ms. Lagarde was surprisingly hawkish. And so that bid the euro to some degree,
That's
um,
interesting.
and that
Yeah.
worked against the dollar, which
Well,
is
Miss
already
Lagarde
in.
is not is nobody's fool. I mean, she's a very smart woman, and the dollar has just been in a nosedive, and she might have seen an opportunity here to pump up the volume over there and decide to come out guns a blazing. Would not surprise me.
Yeah. So again, we're all hopeful that the vaccine is
Yeah.
widely distributed
Right.
and quickly, and we get to herd immunity. We only
Ah,
need 70% of the population inoculated, is what I
that's
hear.
correct. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? We can get there.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need a distribution, and hopefully that we'll be doing it like they're doing in Florida, which is you call the pharmacy, you go over to Publix, and you walk in, you get your shot. I mean, let's just get this thing rolling.
Right. Um, so the Fed comes out with policy this week. So the a
Yeah.
two-day meeting starts on Tuesday. We'll get Fed policy on Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm expecting him to hold steady as well.
I agree.
It looks like former Fed Chairman Yellen
Yellen.
is going to be approved as Treasury Secretary.
Uh-huh.
She's all for fiscal stimulus along with President
Always has
Biden.
been. Yeah.
So
She's not changing her song.
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, there's going to continue to be massive amounts of liquidity in the system.
Absolutely.
That bodes ill for the dollar, I think, which then in turn I think
Yeah.
bodes well for
For
gold.
the
So
metals.
yeah,
And let's talk about silver here real quick, buddy. Mint
yeah,
sales numbers came out on silver up 24% for January. I mean, that's 4.78 million ounces more than last year we've sold so far. Silver is in demand, and it is really a cash flow item. I mean, we're seeing people are just buying it hand over fist because of the high levels of gold.
yeah, and so in the first several days of the Biden administration, I think we're
Right.
we're catching a pulse for the precious metals market is going to be generally favorable, I think.
It's going to be hot.
Um,
No
so
question about it.
yeah, so silver ended up the week almost 3% higher. Again, it was the first higher weekly close in 3 weeks, much like gold.
Hmm.
We set a 5 week low early in the week on Monday last week at 2404. In my Grant on Gold newsletter, I
Uh-huh.
targeted 2404 to 2372
Yeah, nice
as
call.
as the support level to watch, and it kissed the very top of that range, and then rallied smartly. I don't get to call it to the tick very often. I will tell you that I remember very distinctly. This is probably 1982, probably 1984, 85, when I sold the high in the D mark. Back when there was a D mark. You
Oh,
remember those
nice.
days? I
I
was
do.
like,
Yeah,
printed the
absolutely.
high. So you gotta, you know, tout those days when you get
Oh
it right
God,
to the
God,
tick.
yeah. I think one of my great stories was I was standing in a pit and I got an order for like a 27 odd lot number, like 27, 28. Back when there were 1,000 ounce contracts, right? So it was 27,000 ounces of silver. I'm looking at the order and I go and I'm looking at the board and the board's trading right at $50. I'm selling. I go sell 27 at 50. At 50. Guy goes sold, right? I go, bang, I card him up, right? That was the high. That was it. I mean, that was absolutely it. No, I said, I didn't think anything about it. And 20 years later, I'm out to dinner with some of the guys from the LME, and the guy looked over at me and he goes, "You're Pete Thomas." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You sold 27 contracts for me on the high of the entire silver move." And I reached over and shook his hand. I said, "Thank you."
Nice,
But
nice.
it was he eventually came home to roost, and I was just filling it. I
That's
wasn't the
right.
villain.
Those days are few and far
Oh,
between, and so
yeah, absolutely. It's
they
quite a
stick in your
feeling, isn't
mind.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Um,
Um, you know what? I tell you what. I think we really need to slide into Dr. Copper here because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, so copper ended up just up 0.6%,
Yeah.
continuing to consolidate just below that 8 year high that was set 3 weeks ago at 373.28.
Yes.
Again, I like the price action in copper. I mean, clearly the trend is still intact. It's still bullish.
Yep.
And the consolidation again here is allowing the market to relieve some of that overbought pressure. So I'm happy to see it consolidate for a little bit.
Well, Pete, you're
What do
the
you think?
keeper of the numbers, man. Tell me about the housing numbers. Were really surprising, right?
Robust, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's obviously good news for copper.
Oh yeah.
As
Big
we've
time.
talked before, I think your numbers are 400 pounds of copper per house built.
Usually, yeah, 40 to 40 pounds to the car, 400 pounds to the house, and that in turn is a little less per apartment unit, and we're seeing a lot of apartment units going up too.
Yeah, I mean
So
we
yeah.
can't address the demand for housing here in Denver at all, and there are apartment buildings going up as as quick as you can possibly imagine,
Oh yeah.
all around the place, and primarily along the light rail lines here in
I
Denver. So
I'll tell you what. I watched an interview with the mayor of Miami. Very interesting guy, and he said in this interview, uh, sales of homes in Miami are up 100%, and 50% of the sales, this was amazing to me. 50% of the sales are on something similar to Zoom, home tours, sight unseen purchases. They're not even
you
walking in the
have to.
homes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Denver's the same way. I mean,
Oh, it is. That's
you
interesting.
need to
Okay.
get your bid in maybe
Yeah.
before you've even seen the property,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It
other
is.
than
He
pictures.
he was talking about sight unseen, looking at it on the internet, looking at the pictures, going to and then putting a bid in. And a
Putting a
lot
bid
of
in
people are
over the ask.
100% cash bids.
Yeah.
100% cash bids. They're taking money out of the stock market and buying homes. some of the other people that I know that are heavy into finance are doing what they call swap trades, where they're doing like advanced munis, long term, larger purchase munis, and they're using the dividend to pay for the home because the rates are so cheap. It's almost a freebie, and they're moving into very big places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're one of those states that is attracting a lot of population.
Okay.
Florida is one,
Florida,
Texas
Texas.
certainly.
Yeah.
The outflows of people continue to be from California,
New York, New
New
Jersey,
York, New Jersey,
Chicago.
oh, and Illinois.
Oh boy, Illinois, they're losing 1,000 people a day. Is that right?
Yeah,
Something, it's a
they say it
staggering number.
takes 3 weeks for you to get a one-way U-Haul
Yep.
out of out of Illinois.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
So. So hey,
So,
Pete, if you want to move out to Colorado, we could
oh,
set
I
up an
love
office.
Colorado,
Yeah.
and you know what? And I like. There's a lot more cowboys out there, man. I get along with cowboys real good. I wouldn't have a problem with it at all.
Well, you'll
Now,
have to wait till next year for the National Western Stock Show, as we
yeah,
discussed last
yeah.
week.
But we filled everybody in on that, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell me something here about the PGMs. They're looking pretty darn strong, even though they've been under a lot of pressure. I mean, today, they hit them hard and they came back.
Yeah, so I mean, not a heck of a lot of pressure, but as we talked about last week, platinum in particular has struggled above $1,100.
Yeah,
We actually got our first weekly close above $1,100
which has been your
this
number
past
for
Friday.
3, 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, so barely
Yeah,
above, like 1105 is where we
doesn't
closed.
matter.
It
Broke
ended
through.
up it ended up over 3% up on the
Yep,
week, which I
yep.
think is really encouraging. And so again, we'll see. There seems to be some selling interest up there. We did hit a 4.5 year high at 1154.09. So we're like practically $50 off of the intra-week high,
Nice.
which maybe gives me a little bit of concern. But again, I like the fact that we closed above $1,100 finally. So
Yeah.
we'll watch the price action this week, early in the week, and see if we can get some upside follow through and perhaps
Well,
a firmer close.
I made 3 calls today looking for some platinum eagles, and all 3 of them laughed at me. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, go ahead and try to find some metal. It's a difficult thing. So,
yeah. We still
and
have
I talked to one of the
availability.
bigger scrappers in the industry, and he's not complaining, man. You
Yeah.
know,
We still have availability on 1 ounce bars. I went on a hunt for 10 ounce bars for a client last week,
that
and
didn't turn out too well.
well, not really. I found them, but the premium on I found a handful of them. So
Okay.
they're
Okay.
very scarce. I found a
Yeah.
handful of them, but the
What was the premium?
premiums were about the same as the 1 ounce bars.
Oh, really?
So, at that point, you might as well just buy the 1 ounce, right?
Well, whatever. I mean, you just buy what you can get now. I mean, I don't think it's a
That's kind
matter
of
of,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of it. And I think,
yeah. How many you got? It isn't a matter of, what's the premium? Okay, I'll take all of them. What? Well, how many? It doesn't matter how many you got.
yeah,
I mean, we'll bank wire you now. I mean, that's how you do that deal.
right. So Palladium was the odd man out. It closed down about 1.25%.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was odd.
so we've been kind of watching a trade in a range with perhaps, a slight upward bias, but it kind of moved sideways through the trend line over the last week or so. I'm not terribly concerned about it. I
Yeah,
think that the market's still in deficit. It's going to remain in deficit. Things aren't getting
yeah.
any better in South
Not at
Africa.
all. Matter of fact, if anything, things are getting worse.
Right. So,
Yeah,
I think that uh, there's a lot of underpinning to the market in terms
I
of
agree.
both the fundamentals, in terms of uh, green initiatives, lower
Yeah.
carbon emissions, both in the United States here, but in
Yep.
Europe and China as well, drives to go carbon neutral within the next several decades.
Yep.
And that's bodes well for platinum, palladium,
I agree.
silver, copper. Um,
I have the release here of President Biden's status on Biden on mining, it's called. I think we're one of the first people to have it. This is for all of our scrappers, our miners, our producers. Guys, there's nothing but good news here. Biden claims he will open and foster, which I thought was interesting. He said, I want to foster the supply side traffic of the following metals: lithium, copper, nickel, and all, quote, strategic materials. That's pretty amazing. I think that's good news for the mining industry. It's good news for our dealers. It's good news continued for
Scrappers.
our battery manufacturers. All of our scrappers are going to be in good shape from this. I'm real happy with this release. This is the first status we've gotten from the president on precious metals, on mining, and there's a lot of, he's talking about pushback on the extension of the 20-year moratorium of no mining for rare earths in America. I think that we could end up creating a heck of a lot of jobs in mining and not having to go to China to buy it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's probably the driving factor behind this is most of those, particularly the rare earths, are coming out of China,
Yeah.
and they sort of have us boxed in, if you will.
Well, and it's
Uh,
a serendipitous route right out of North Korea, because North Korea's mining is, they're bringing in the most rare earths and from the granite mountains there. And so, that's pretty interesting. That's a tip of the hat right there.
are you
I hope he
sure?
holds it.
Are you sure that's not a report that was just in the desk in the Oval Office that from the previous guy?
No, I swear I read it 3 times. It said
Okay,
President Biden's
I be-
status on mining, and I was
I
like,
believe you.
I felt like Charlotte watching the place burn. I was fanning myself on the porch. Oh, red! Oh my God! I
And
was in
it's
shock.
not handwritten in Biden with
Yeah,
something crossed out.
scratch out Trump.
I'm
No,
just I'm just checking
this
because
I'm telling you,
it
buddy, this is
I'm a
his
little
status.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy, and I'm really happy for our guys. I'm happy for our producers. I'm happy for our miners. They're probably the first time you've heard about it. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope, but I read it 3 times, man, and I took it out of, and it was released to mining.com, which we contribute to, and I was like, oh, this is a reliable source.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see that.
Well, great, great.
Yeah,
Well, so this week we'll be obviously watching the FOMC meeting to see what the
right.
latest policy is. We've got durable goods out on Wednesday,
That's important.
and then PCE on Friday. So those are kind of the biggies. So the change.
Anything in automobiles or light trucks?
I don't think we have auto
I don't think we do
out
either.
till next week.
It's next week. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, so we'll be keeping our eyeball on those
Yeah.
things, but overall, I think the markets look pretty good at this point, and
Yeah. Oh
we'll
yeah.
look forward to another good week of trading here.
Yeah. It's been a great week, and I'm just looking forward to next week, and a lot going on, and we're getting offers from everywhere from Dubai to Hong Kong to around the world. Markets are rocking.
Well, very good. With that, we'll ask you to please give us a like so
Yes.
that
Absolutely.
you get these in your inbox as well. And
Yeah.
visit us at zanerpreciousmetals.com as well if you're in need for physical metal.
Yep.
We can help you out, and we do have availability of most bullion products.
And
Uh,
and and the other part is that the tornado hedging platform will give you a chance to mitigate the risk in some of these wilder swings. Don't forget, give us a call. We'll show you how to use it.
yeah, very simple and straightforward. And
Yeah,
the new version is coming out soon.
yeah.
T2.
Number
Yeah,
two, and they've been killing themselves on that thing for at least 6 months. So we're kind of
it's
looking forward.
slick.
Yeah, yeah,
It's slick.
yeah,
So we'll have more to say about that when it's finally released.
yeah. That'll be
But
fun.
with that, have a great trading week. I'm Peter
Thanks,
Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver.
Pete Thomas. Thanks for dropping in, guys. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here.